if it comes, it will be a renaissance because there's just going to be so many different ways to tackle things and different ways to use these EOSIO technologies and EOS to build applications that nobody's ever built before, like in these trustless computing environments that are really set to change how we deal with the internet in general.
It's time to talk about block producers on EOS. Who are they? What do they do? And why do they do it? In this series, I will highlight the various block producers in EOS, either of the top 21 who produce the blocks, or of the many standby producers waiting in the wings. So I'm here with Aaron Cox from Team Greymass to do another block producer on EOS interview. Team Greymass has been around since the beginning. They really don't require much of an introduction or much. This interview is probably not even necessary because most people who will watch this will know exactly what they're doing and the great work that they've done. But I still want to get Aaron on because Aaron's a good guy. Why not? So Aaron, thanks for your time and thanks for being here.
Yeah, not a problem.
And so the first question is just if you want to maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe some of your background and history in crypto.
Yeah, sure. I am a developer by trade. I've been doing software development since the late 90s, and I've moved from publishing into the gaming industry and now into crypto. I got my start with crypto really early on. I didn't really get too involved, but I mean, I tried to do CPU mining with Bitcoin back in the days where that was the only way to do it. I can't say I was successful, but that was kind of my first foray into it and starting to understand what it was. But it was more just of a passing interest at that point. And then I think it was 2014, 2015 when I got involved in Steam more deeply. That was my first okay, we're gonna start doing this. I was a Steam witness, which is their equivalent of a block producer, for about 3 years, deeply involved in the governance of the chain and building software for it. So for those of you who are unaware of Steam, it was a content-based blockchain. And me coming from publishing and gaming, that's kind of what latched me on. Most of my previous work was involved in content systems and community systems, getting people to engage with one another. So Steam itself was a good jumping in point. And then over the course of time, EOS came around and it turned from just a single purpose blockchain into this multi-purpose ecosystem we have today. And I teamed up with another Steam witness and he started Greymass, and here we are.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, an interesting background considering to the type of work you do now. Obviously, you've had to probably learn a lot to get to be able to run what is all the services that Greymass offers. And I guess, yeah, so that just kind of leads us to the next question, which is just sort of the history of Greymass and how you got here today.
Yeah, like I mentioned, Greymass was started by two of us, two former Steam witnesses, myself and Scott, who goes by NEX on Steam. And we decided to jump into this ecosystem because it was really familiar technology to what we had been working on previously for years before that, except it just opened the doors to more possibilities beyond systems, besides its content systems, that is. So we decided to get involved. We formed Greymass, and the first thing we decided to do was start on wallet technology. I had actually done a lot of wallet development within the Steam ecosystem. Vessel was one of the wallet that I started back then, and a lot of what I learned there is what we've applied to EOS Voter when Greymass first launched and EOS first launched, and now Anchor and all of the associated technologies alongside of that. So, and along the way, we've identified many different issues and started working on different APIs, different software developer kits. And I mean, I think even as far back as the Steam days with our team, the thing that we always really wanted to do was to be able to create easy to use applications using the blockchain. And the wallets were always the things in our way. So that's why 5 years ago or so, we really started diving into wallet technologies. And what it's going to take to make this stuff easy enough so that way you can use it as just an average user. So we're still on that path today. It's taken a lot longer than we would like it to have, but ultimately we'd really like to get back to the point where we're working on applications, whether it be something content related or whether it be, I don't know, a game or something. But we really want to take all the stuff that we've been building over the years for application developers and actually build applications ourselves when we're finally done.
In light of some of the comments from Dan when, you know, he wanted to build EOSIO so he could eat his own dog food, I think was the phrase.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing the same thing. Going to build some wallets so then you can use that to build more.
Yeah, we dog food everything we build. So it's humbling, and it really makes you kind of look at how you're building things.
Awesome. And so in light of all the work that you have done with Greymass, what are you most proud of with your block producer?
I mean, I think it's got to be the wallet technologies that we've come up with. Anchor itself is a product that, you know, many people are familiar with, but then underneath Anchor, we have the EOSIO signing request protocol that kind of is what allows people to have their wallet communicate with these external applications. There's also the Anchor link protocol, which is very generic and is a way to do the routing and whatnot intelligently. We have Fuel that we've recently has come up because, you know, resources have been a headache. So that was kind of developed out of necessity. But I mean, this whole suite of wallet products that we've been working on just to improve the user experience, I think is what I'm personally most proud of. And all of the technologies that I could bore you with that are underneath them.
Right. Yeah, there's more to it. Yeah, especially all the API stuff and your GitHub looks pretty busy.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, and I'm biased obviously because I'm working on this forever, but the technology stack we've built behind Anchor is one of the most advanced things in the entire crypto industry. Like the flexibility and the power that this stuff provides is like people are slowly starting to see some of those features surface up, but we have a lot more to show off on how great of an experience this kind of technology can provide.
Awesome. Well, and I guess that again kind of perfectly leads to the next question, which is what are you most excited about as it relates to the future of the EOS blockchain in general?
Seeing more applications get built. I mean, we kind of saw a flurry of applications maybe in the first year when there was a lot of hype and excitement around it. That kind of tapered off a little bit, but I think that with the new tools that are coming out, the new wallets, the new approaches that all of these things are going to offer, I think I'm most excited to see what other people come up with that they can build on top of these foundations that, you know, we've spent years working on. So it's like we're gonna, there's kind of a renaissance coming. If it comes, it will be a renaissance because there's just going to be so many different ways to tackle things and different ways to use these EOSIO technologies and EOS to build applications that nobody's ever built before, like in these trustless computing environments that are really set to change how we deal with the internet in general. So we're still so early on. I mean, the technologies that we're making right now are probably like, it's like we're trying to get everybody to move away from AOL at this point in the 90s. And we're like, hey, look, this is a new web browser and you can do anything with it. And you know that took years to catch on before we saw the internet as we see it today, where you know you can connect with anyone and you can find anything. So we haven't hit that point when in this analogy between the internet and blockchain, but I think it's coming.
Yeah, that's so true. EOS has suffered also like Bitcoin, many obituaries, maybe even more of them written for EOS. But like you say, it's still so early. This game is far from over, and it's the analogy of the marathon versus a sprint. This is certainly a marathon.
Exactly.
And so in light of the great things that are possible and what EOSIO can deliver, especially on EOS, what can token holders, the EOS token holders, do to help you and support Team Greymass and just the EOS network in general?
I mean, if you're a token holder, obviously votes help. You know, Block Producer right now is how we generate the funds to keep ourselves going, how to develop all this software and pay our team and pay contractors and software, hardware, everything that goes along with being a block producer. But voting is one way for token holders to get involved. If you're not a huge, like not even a big token holder or whatever, I think communication is probably the biggest way that you can help. Whether that's communicating with the community or whether that's communicating with us. We would love to have your feedback about like what's hard to use with these products. Like, where do you find this confusing? How would you want to use this thing? You know, I mean, I personally have probably talked to a couple thousand people over the past couple years. Like, I make it a point to try to talk to everybody that doesn't just say hi, which is there's a pretty common occurrence of that happening on Telegram, where somebody will just say hi and then never say anything else again. But there have been, you know, thousands of other people who have reached out and pointed out issues or feedback, or, you know, said that they wish they could do this thing or they wish they could build this thing. And that is incredibly valuable to us. It doesn't help support us in the way that voting does, but it helps us figure out what our trajectory is and figure out the best way to move forward. We typically act in a very, I mean, we have plans and we have a very set path that we're trying to go down, but we're also very reactionary. And if there's a grave need in the ecosystem, like we try to step up and deal with that. Over the past year, that like an example of that would be us dealing with resources. Whether it was launching fuel or moving to a system where we could offer fees when fuel was expired and you couldn't do your own resources. But we're looking to absorb that feedback and try to. We're not going to promise we're going to be able to do everything. You know, we're a very small team, but we do listen and figure out ways that we could apply that feedback to make our stuff better. So
awesome. Well, I will definitely put, I've got your Twitter and any Telegram handles and groups. I'll make sure I put that in description notes below.
yeah,
so people can find you. You're very accessible. You know, you've been very responsive to my requests in Telegram. So thank you for that. Recognizing you do a lot. I think you had some API work yesterday. Wear many hats, including a firefighter.
It can be stressful.
Yeah, well, and I know, you know, we don't need to get too into the weeds at the end here, but certainly sounds like there's some optimism in terms of development from Eden to the EOS Foundation, maybe, and that could be hopefully a lot of support directed to a team that's absolutely deserving like yourself. So I think the future is quite bright for Team Greymass.
I hope so, and for, you know, EOS in general, and even broader EOSIO, with hopefully, you know, a family of networks that lives kind of together in harmony somehow. So there's a lot we can do with this technology, and breaking through kind of the tribalism and focusing on how we can create public goods for this system is really important. Yeah,
well said. I completely agree. Well, yeah, thank you very much, Aaron, for your time. And really, yeah, again, appreciate your openness and answers to these questions for myself and the community. And hopefully Team Greymass moves up the ranks. And I see you're 26. You're not quite making blocks right now, but you have in the past. And hopefully with some more support and some votes from the community, you'll get back to where you should be, actually churning out blocks.
Fingers crossed. And fingers crossed for all these new systems that are coming online. So it looks like a bright future.
Right on. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.